The final whistle went in Atlanta on the 15th of July, and for about 90 seconds, it was pure joy. Argentina had beaten England 2-1 inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Enzo Fernandez and Lautaro Martinez had struck late, and just like that, a place in the World Cup final belonged to them. Players dropped to the grass. Fans wept in the stands. Everything you'd expect after a night like that. Then some of those players reached for something that wasn't a trophy and wasn't a jersey. A hand-painted banner, and the instant they lifted it toward the cameras, a football result stopped being about football at all. The words on it concerned the Falkland Islands, a British overseas territory in the South Atlantic, also claimed by Argentina, where it goes by the name Las Malvinas. Within hours, the story had left the pitch completely. It reached the desk of a British Prime Minister. It reached the door of FIFA. So the question spread fast. Could this actually get Argentina thrown out of the final, days before the biggest match of their careers? To understand why a piece of painted cloth rattled two governments, you have to go back 44 years. In 1982, Argentina and the United Kingdom fought an undeclared war over those islands. It ran for 74 days. By the time it ended, 907 people had lost their lives, 649 Argentine service members, 255 British, and 3 islanders caught between them. Numbers like that don't soften with the years. They harden into memory. That war never truly closed. The grief stayed raw, handed down through generations on both sides of the ocean. Even the name of the place is contested. One word in English, another in Spanish, each carrying its own claim. So when the players raised a banner declaring that the islands belonged to Argentina, this was no throwaway gesture. They were touching one of the most painful subjects either nation still carries, and the men holding it up made the whole thing cut even deeper, because these were not players with no ties to England. The opposite, in fact. Giovanni Lo Celso spent formative years at Tottenham Hotspur. Nicolas Otamendi built his reputation at Manchester City. Cristian Romero and Lisandro Martinez both know that country well, and Martinez, the Manchester United defender, has lived and played there for 4 straight years. These were the men waving the banner, standing in direct confrontation with the very place that shaped their careers. And afterward, Martinez said something that stayed with a lot of people. He admitted he could picture a war veteran watching that moment and weeping. He didn't know whether any punishment would follow, but the point, as he put it, was to hold up that banner and assert that the islands belonged to his country. That kind of honesty is rare from a professional athlete, and it tells you this was no impulse, it was a decision. If you want the story underneath the story, not just the headline that flashes across your feed, subscribe to this channel. This banner hid far more than a moment of celebration. And the players weren't acting alone. Immediately after the final whistle, Argentina's vice president, Victoria Villarruel, posted a victory message on X. It carried footage of Argentine soldiers. In her words, authorities had baned bringing the subject into the stadium, but they'd forgotten that Argentines carry it in their blood and their hearts. This wasn't some distant official chiming in for attention. Villarruel's own father served as an officer in that 1982 conflict. For her, none of this was abstract. It was family, and before the match had even kicked off, she'd rallied the squad online, urging them to claim what she called theirs, and to put the brakes on those she described as invaders. So the banner didn't rise up out of nowhere on that pitch. The push came from the highest levels of the country's government. Britain's reaction came almost immediately. On the 16th of July, one day after the match, the UK Business Secretary, Peter Kyle, condemned the team's conduct as entirely inappropriate. And he didn't stand alone. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, threw his weight behind formal demands for FIFA to open a disciplinary investigation. A goal celebration at a football tournament had dragged in the leader of a national government within a single day. That's how fast a hand-painted sign became a diplomatic pressure campaign, playing out across newspapers and podiums in 2 different countries. But this is exactly where the panic and the reality begin to pull apart, because the crowd assumed one outcome, and FIFA's own rulebook has always pointed somewhere else entirely. If this breakdown is landing for you, take a second to hit like. It genuinely helps push a story like this toward more people trying to make sense of it. The word bouncing around tabloids and timelines was disqualification. Argentina, tossed out of the final. Yet FIFA has almost never operated that way when it comes to political messages, and the receipts are easy to find. In June 2014, the Argentine Football Association posed behind that identical banner before a World Cup warm-up friendly against Slovenia. FIFA charged them for it, and the punishment? A fine of roughly £20,000, about $33,000, no expulsion, a bill. Then consider a South Korean footballer named Park Jong-woo at the 2012 London Olympics. He held up a banner pressing a territorial claim of his own after a match. FIFA responded with a 2-match suspension, a ban aimed at the individual player, never the removal of his entire team from the competition. In both cases, the message was the same. FIFA punishes the act, but it protects the tournament. Kicking a finalist out of the final would set a precedent the sport has spent decades avoiding. There's another piece people keep tangling up. Just days before all this, on the 10th of July, FIFA had already declined to open a formal investigation into Argentina once during this very tournament. After their round of 16 victory over Egypt, 3-2, the squad sang a chant in the locker room that also nods to the islands. FIFA looked into it, and in that instance, the governing body chose not to hand down any sanction at all. But that was a song, sung behind closed doors, and it got cleared. The banner is a different animal. It happened out on the pitch, in front of a global audience, and it sits right now as a fresh, open case. Timing plays a role too. Under Article 18 of FIFA's disciplinary code, national associations have a strict 24-hour window after a match to file formal protests. That clock started running the moment the banner went up. Right now, FIFA's disciplinary committee is doing something very specific. It's combing through the official match coordinator reports out of Atlanta, weighing whether to issue individual suspensions or a federation-wide fine before Sunday's final arrives. That single word, before, is what makes the whole thing so tense. If FIFA moves fast and suspends a player like Lisandro Martinez or Nicolas Otamendi, Argentina could step onto the field for the biggest game on earth missing a key defender. Not disqualified, just weaker. And in a final against Spain, that gap might cost them every bit as much. So this is the true danger buried in the story. Not expulsion from the tournament, a quieter penalty that could still reshape the team on the one day it can least afford to change. Pull back from all of it, and you can see what this moment truly exposes. A war that ended more than 4 decades ago is still alive enough to spill onto a football field, in a third country, in front of billions of watching eyes. Sport was meant to be the break from all of that. Instead, it turned into the stage for it. For the players, the choice was made with clear eyes. They understood a penalty could follow, and they raised the banner regardless. For 2 governments, a match became a flashpoint. And for FIFA, stuck in the middle, there's no tidy way out. Come down too hard, and it looks political. Do nothing, and it practically invites the next banner at the next tournament. What stays with me is the simplest part of it. A game doesn't erase history. Sometimes it just hands history a louder microphone. When the final kicks off on Sunday, watch it closely, because the scoreline won't be the only thing getting decided out there. If a story like this one changed the way you see the game, like this video and subscribe. There's always far more unfolding beneath the surface than 90 minutes on a clock could ever show you.